Howdy YouTube folks, I'm coming back with another video, an update of what I just finally got to is the Model G mixer that I made a video on, and I don't know if I mentioned much on the General Electric, but we'll get into that. This is the current state of the Model G. I don't believe I'm going to try to mess with getting this working, because I'm finding that it's a lot harder finding, for one, the capacitors that I need for this Model G, and the other and a cord is easy enough, of course. And the other thing too is I'm just finding, as I dig further into this, I don't think this is really worth putting a bunch of effort into. So I'm just parting it out on Facebook Marketplace. I'm hoping to find a set of beaters, a turntable, and white milk glass bowls for my Model H. I've also put in my add-on Marketplace that if anybody has any of those parts or a complete Model H, that I would trade for a complete Model H that has those. Because I have them, as I've mentioned before, I have a Model H out in the shop, a Hamilton Beach Model H, and it's missing the turntable, the beaters, and as majority of you who own these probably know, the white milk glass bowls are always gone. Also, I don't know if I've made much updates on that. I still have that up for sale. I'm kind of parting that out. I haven't really pulled the motor apart to part out any of the motor, but I've got it up as to say if I will either sell the motor whole or sell parts off of the motor, and I'm hoping to sell that. That way I can take both of these and recuperate the profits from these into my sunbeams, which I have mentioned on the channel that I have. Both Model 5 mixers. So, and the Model H I had contemplated keeping, but I don't think I'm going to be keeping it, because even though it was the first one in a long while that I had picked up, it was more of an impulse buy, and granted, I didn't pay that much for it, but still. And so that's why I've decided I'm going to put my efforts into the Model 5s. And hold on a minute, I will take you and again show you the Model 5s that I am going to be restoring. So I need to turn on the light here and then turn the light on to the pantry. So these are the Model 5s that I will be fixing up. That one I think is going to be the one that I use because it has this meat grinder attachment, as the one that I want to build a case for. And as you can see, I'm missing the snout to the juicer, but I have the rest of it. And my plan is to fix both of these up cosmetically and mechanically, and build a wood box to fit this mixer, the juicer, once I get it all complete with the snout, and the meat grinder with its thing, and all the spare for the meat grinder, because this will be one that I'll probably only take out when I either need to do some juicing, like make juice, or do some meat grinding, and I believe this to be a meat grinder. And like I said, it's got multiple attachments. So my plan is to make, and see there's another one. My plan is to make, this is the other insert, to make a case that has slots to hold all of these bits, like a place to hold this, a place to hold this meat grinder part, and a place like little nubs that strap down with maybe like some straps to strap down the extra juicer pieces and take these off as I'm not using them, because I'll probably clean these up a little bit. And I also make a slot in there in the case for the juicer, but maybe in the center have the mixer slid in there. And this second mixer also had a set of beaters, but obviously is missing the turntable, which happens. And of course, these don't have any milk glass bowls. When I didn't have any milk glass bowls when I got them, and for obvious reasons. Oftentimes, if most people who are familiar with old vintage mixers, the milk glass bowls either got misplaced or fell on the floor and got busted, got lost, all that kind of stuff. So it happens. And sadly, those are some of the most sought after parts. But for me, that's not a big deal. If I ever found the correct milk glass bowls for these, I would, for one of these, I think there's like a small or medium and a large one that goes in these. It would be great, but either way, I feel I could use probably any bowl in this and it would work. Any glass bowl. So that's not a big deal to me, because I have old Pyrex dishes that would probably be fine in there, in my opinion. But that's my plan with those, is to essentially build a case for that one. And like I said, only take that one out when I need to do juicing or meat work, and then just keep this as a main mixer. But it's not my main mixer. This one's also slated to go on the channel as well. And that one over there, if I'm able to find the parts I need for it to fix it, will also be a video. Either way, it's going to sit on the shelf, because I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but I'll mention it again anyways in this video. That was a blender that belonged to my grandparents, and I believe it's from 1959, and there's a photo around the house. And I forget if I showed any of it, any of the I know I showed photos, but I forget if I showed that one on YouTube when I was searching for the Biscayne car. I don't believe I did, but anyways, and I may or may not. If I look close enough in the photo, I'm pretty sure this is in the background. And that was their first apartment when they were first married in 1959. So it's a very sentimental piece to me. It's been in the family for a long time. But this... Oh, and here's a couple of the smaller mixers that will probably be featured in service. This one might be leaving. The beaters to it are in here. I would like to find a set of beaters for this 79-1 so I can get a super mix set, so I can sell this one as a whole and keep that one, because I like the mint green color of this one, and I will show that in a later video. But anyways, here is the reason why this will probably be more of a backup mixer, or when I feel like using it, and that obviously for what it's going to be used for, because right here is one of the crown jewels, and this was my grandmother's. It now belongs to my mom, but this is the main most used mixer in the household, and it was belonged to my grandmother, who lived in this house, the same grandparents who owned that blender in 1959. But anyways, this is the main most used mixer in this house currently. This is the runner, the one that's serviced, and this one will always be taken care of and always be kept because it was my grandma's. The one thing I would love to find for this mixer, and I will show you while I'm making this video, because I don't believe I've ever showed this mixer, is it's got the insert, for those of you who are familiar with KitchenAid mixers, for like different attachments. And I would love to find a pasta maker for this, and I believe because this is a newer one of the newer models, that you can get a pasta maker for it that will fit up, because I think this design is still pretty much made the same today as it was made in like the early to mid 2000s. And I believe this was bought, I want to say, in at least somewhere from the mid 90s to mid 2000s, because I'm trying to think about when she got it. I know it's not that old. I believe when they were younger in the 70s, they had a different stand mixer that was also a KitchenAid. That in there, I still have the bread hook attachment to it, and I think they may have, when they got rid of that, they may have forgot they still had that bread hook, and then hung on to it in case it would fit up to this one. But because this is a newer one, I found that that older bread hook probably most likely would not fit this, because I believe I've tried it to see as a spare, but I've hung on to that as well just because it came from that old mixer. And if I ever find pictures of that old mixer they had that was also a KitchenAid, I will put it up, because I believe I found a picture in the family photo albums of it, and it's one of the old school KitchenAid stand mixers that had the little arms that came out that held the bowl in instead of twisting in like these newer ones. But anyways, yeah, so this is the main vein, and also the reason why that Sunbeam that I'm going to make to use directly, once I restore it, to use directly as a mixer, probably won't be used as much, because this is the main one that's used, and it sees the most use. So anyways, I think that's about all I can say about the mixers. So I hope you YouTube folks have an excellent time, whatever it is, wherever you are. Keep your heads up, stay strong, all that kind of jazz. And excuse me for kind of stumbling over my words a minute ago, trying to think about what I was gonna say. I do that sometimes. And as always, sunshine, unicorns, and rainbows. And as we close out this video, we get the proper viewing of our beautiful KitchenAid here. Love this thing. It's a very good mixer, and it's held up very well, and I don't think it's needed really any service in the time that we've owned it, except for me pulling this emblem off and some of the other things off just to clean around where there was stuck in food debris from baking in the past, which I did recently, and I gave this thing a really good clean. I'm probably going to have to give it another once over clean, but yeah. So anyways, YouTube folks, I will catch you in the next video, and I hope you liked this one, and yeah, that is toodles for now.